Back for another episode of Down Under the Crossbar podcast. And Steve Peios, the sun is shining a little brighter today. The birds are singing a little more sweetly because we're just hours out from a 2-1 Arsenal win, a 96th-minute winner up at St James's Park. And not only that, Liverpool lost, Manchester United lost, Chelsea lost, Tottenham drew. It's been a great weekend. How are you, mate?
I'm great, mate. Good morning. Great to see you. We're 2 weeks in a row now, BB. We're minutes away from this podcast having a very different vibe to it. Last week was the instance of Martinelli's wonder equaliser against Manchester City, and then this morning, me and you sending voice notes to each other at 3:26 a.m. absolutely blowing up the airwaves, blowing up the neighbourhoods of our respective home suburbs, mate. It was glorious. I tell you what, it was a magnificent morning, mate. Gary Neville said something very, very important on Sky Sports, which of course only read later because we get the international feed here. But he said something that, and I paraphrase as best as I can because I read the quote this morning, but it said, "This really feels like a time that an Arsenal team need to somehow win this game. They've faced adversity once again. They've faced a refereeing howler, to be honest, a VAR howler, because I had a lot of
Yep.
mates in me, especially the English boys that know I'm an Aussie. They're all like, mate, your mug, mate, Gillett's this and that." I said, whoa, mate. Gillett gave the penalty. We all know he's a Liverpool
Yeah.
fan. And I think that's why he doesn't referee Liverpool or involved with them. But, mate, he gave the penalty. It's Darren England you need to look at, the VAR, who was an absolute disgrace for getting involved once again. I've seen Mark Halsey get in this morning. I've seen Clattenburg get in this morning on Twitter. I've seen Keith Hackett, the old referee and head of the PGMOL, getting involved this morning. We can probably actually save that. Let's just talk about the win for now. We'll get on to the refereeing in a moment. But fabulous. I mean, there's so much to talk about, isn't there? Fabulous result. I tell you what, they're the jostles. I always wonder sometimes why I get up at these stupid hours and watch games. But when I know I've got a mate like you on the other side and we're sitting there sending each other voice messages and carrying on like pork chops at 3:26 a.m., that's what it's all about, mate. That was a massive win, mate. That felt like Bournemouth a few years ago where Reece Nelson scored in the 96th minute to pull one out of the fire for us. And in that case, we came very close that year. But I feel like this is the type of win that can springboard you when you're not at your best. You're still coming, through difficult times. And I tell you what, mate, it was a wonderful feeling. And I know you were just as happy because we were texting and voice messaging and carrying on, in other words. It was a wonderful time, mate. But great win. And, you must be ecstatic as well because going into the 80th minute, again, we just didn't like creating much. We'd faced that adversity from the penalty. And I tend to agree with a lot of what the English boys said, which was at 1-0 with 25 minutes gone. You can see us then, eking out a second or bringing on that three-man midfield. That's just been brilliant for us, in terms of defensive acquisition the last few weeks and seeing it out. So great turn of events for us to be happy this morning. But I tell you what, could have been a very different story.
I tell you what, after 75, 80 minutes, it's probably about 3 o'clock, maybe 10 past 3 here. Pitch black, house is dark, we're down 1-0, and it's just like you're sitting there. Why? What is the point of all this? Like I can't, like everyone's asleep. I could be asleep, could be in bed. I got work in the morning. It's 1-0. I've sat through another one of these. Why? Why do you do it? And then 10 minutes later, whatever it was, 20 minutes later, it's like that's why. This is why. Because moments like that, moments like that goal, the 96th-minute winner. That's that. Well, I think we said it like this is why you do it. This is why you stay up late. This is one of those great moments in sport. But you touched on a few things there. But again, this felt like, and I feel like I've reading a little bit of the commentary, a little bit of the reaction analysis. This felt like something like a statement win, where backs against the wall, haven't won there in a little while, down 1-0, title race quickly slipping away, even though it's still September. To come back, to fight back, and to win it in the way, playing scrappy, not great football, chances here and there, to win it, doing what Arsenal does well, set pieces, corners. That's the new meme. It's set piece FC, but if that's what you're good at, that's what you can revert to, that's what you can go back to. Then I'm happy with that. Newcastle went up, and then I feel like they stopped playing. They just stacked the midfield, stacked the defence. They weren't looking to do anything more than a 1-0. And yeah, I just think I don't know how the rest of the season goes. We saw Liverpool go down to Crystal Palace the other day. We've sort of this first sort of what month, 6 weeks of the season, we've gone, look, when Liverpool finally click, it's all over because they've been playing like dog shit and still getting these wins. Well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
what if it doesn't? What if that's the level for Liverpool? They'll drop points to Palace and whoever else. Maybe there's still little flecks, little rays of hope down through the season, but really needed to capitalize on this. Did that really well. Backs against the wall, claw that gap back to the top of the table at Liverpool. But the one thing I wanted to mention again, it's super sub coming on. Marino in this case, it's been Martinelli and Trossard in the past. Just the depth in the squad, the guys that weren't even used today. One of the best squads in the league, surely. But yeah, I just thought I mentioned this, the super subs. Talk us through the couple of goals. What did you see? How did you sort of see it playing out?
Yeah, bang on, mate. I think we've seen Arteta in the last couple of weeks talk about this concept of the finisher and not the starter. And I must say, there's been huge elements of that where the bench has played a massive role in this. Now, a couple of things to touch on there. You talked about sort of league position at this point in time. I think there's no doubt about it that we've looked at it and gone, Liverpool have been lucky to this point, and we thought that they were going to progress on and potentially click and play better. They were the worst they've ever been on the weekend. They could have, if it wasn't for Alisson, similarly, if it wasn't for Nick Pope last night.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where football is such a. This is why all sports are brilliant. I think me and you we're fanatics in that we watch absolutely everything. We're talking about the golf this morning, like into the golf, we're into whatever the case may be. But football just has those so many narratives where I just feel like so many different momentum swings and things can happen in the game that can change it. And it can change in a way that you either expect or you don't expect. And what I mean by that is that you might see a team in rugby league like defending their line for 6 sets, 7 sets. Absolutely. But the difference is that if you get over, you only score one try. Now, in football, you could kind of say the same thing, but in a way, Nick Pope has saved 3 or 4 goals for them last night. It's 3 or 4-0. It's a different story. Whereas if you're defending line after line after line for 10 minutes, then you still go over. You still only get one goal for it. Whereas in football, you can either be on the line as such, which is, you can be tip-tapping around the box for 10 minutes and 15 minutes where you might only get a goal. But in our case, the difference is last night, you can actually go whack, oh, that's going in. That save from Pope in the 4th minute from Eze, where he's tapped it to the left, was unbelievable. The save off the volley from Eze, off his right foot, where he's gone right, was unbelievable. The save from Jurriën Timber in the second half, where Timber's got through and then dinked it the other way, and Pope's just had to do that and put his hand out behind him, was unbelievable. So I guess what I mean by that is that a game can change in so many different ways like that. I mean, I just feel like, I hope I'm explaining that right, but you can be on the line. All right, they've finally gone over. Whereas as opposed to, you can either be tippy-tapping around the box and then after 15 minutes of bulk possession, get a goal, and then they can go down the other end. You're most vulnerable when you score, and then they'll score. Versus in this case, we could have been 3-4-0 up. The penalty should have been a penalty. It should have stayed a penalty is what I mean. I think we were both of the opinion that if it wasn't given, no worries. But the fact that you've gone to VAR for it is a pure disgrace. Robert Sanchez last week for Chelsea got sent off for the exact same thing.
Yes.
William Saliba got sent off against Brighton last year for getting the ball first. Excuse me, for getting a touch. He's headed it past him, which is like Gyökeres. And then Saliba, remember, got the head on against Brighton, headed the guy in the head. Oh, sorry, it's a penalty. Get lost. Yep. So, look, I think that's going to – I'm not going to say washed away. I think there's a lot on social media, but I think for us Arsenal fans, it'll get slightly washed away, over the next week or two, where we'll just be like, mate, that was a disgrace, but we'll move on. So that's what I want to touch on there in terms of just that sort of momentum swing and the way that the game can go like that. And back to Liverpool quickly, Alisson was incredible. I mean, Palace should have been 4-0 up, realistically. They should have been 4-0 up. He was incredible. They got what they deserved, I guess you could say, and that's not being, combative. They just were not on the money yesterday. The fact that Palace couldn't get the 2-goal lead meant that Chiesa's goal at the end felt like, all right, there's drop points, but it's better than nothing for then Eddie to go and win the game. Second thing is on your point, the super subs. I couldn't agree more. I thought someone who was brilliant yesterday was Ødegaard. He was incredible. Yeah. And that's the Martin Ødegaard that started the 2022-2023 season, BB, and had basically 8-9 months of incredible football. And I think he may have got injured slightly towards the end of it in that World Cup year, just before we missed. That's the Odegaard we want to see. He was
Yep.
incredible. He came on. He had intent, pulled the strings, passed the ball around. I didn't think Martinelli did much, but I don't think it was the type of game for that, because you nailed it perfectly. It was a game where Newcastle had basically sat right back. And the difference was, I think, versus Man City last week, was that Newcastle are a lot tighter. Their sort of back seven were pretty firm. And then you could see once they lost Livramento, that they lost a little bit of that shape at the back.
Yeah.
But they're a pretty solid side when you're looking at Thiel. Looks like a great player. Botman, you got Dan Burn. I know they're missing Fabian Schär, but they look quite solid like that. Then you saw Joel Linton come off. You saw those midfield changes. You saw Guimaraes tire. So it just meant it was a different type of game for Martinelli. But Marino was good. He was solid. He gets himself about. He's a wonderful header of the ball. We've seen a similar goal to Spain not even 3 weeks ago, just popping up like that, dinking it over. So look, overall, mate, I think it was a fantastic result. I mean, I'm very interested to later on. I'll have a listen to Gary Neville's podcast. He's always got very interesting things to say. He's very, very, he's a figure who can malign for sure, but I think he does make a lot of sense at times. And I think for us, it was an opportunity for the very first time in a long time. And I remember other instances of this, but it was the first time in a very long time that I remember. This is a must win this week because of them dropping the full freight. We need to win. And with the weight of the pressure of the situation, it could have been like everyone was talking this weekend about Liverpool winning, you guys lose your 8 back. All of a sudden, we're 2 back, and we got West Ham at home. No disrespect to Brocky and West Ham, but they're a shambles. Nuno Espirito coming in there is a story for another day. But realistically, we should be able to go out and belt them like we did Leeds, 4-5 zip, go into the break with a nice cushion, beat Olympiacos midweek comfortably, hopefully look to start getting Havertz back, when's Madueke back, Hincapie, get him back so Gabriel can have a break, and we're in a good place, mate. So overall, I think they're the key takeaways from me in that respect. Subs were excellent. I mean, Eze was good. I thought he was good, but he was like a 6.5 good. I mean, he had some great shots on goal, but in terms of creativity, Odegaard came on, and for what we can only judge on 15 minutes, he was like an 8. He was really good. So if he continues to play like that, then we'll be great. Fantastic result, mate. Wonderful feeling today. We could have had this chat and been in a very different mood, but I think for us, it was a big morning, that's for sure.
Yeah, best again, only 15 minutes, but best of Steve Odegaard play in a number of months. That ball he put through to Miles Lewis-Skelly just on the edge of 3 into the box. And that is I think I saw someone on Twitter say there's like 4 guys in the world that can make that pass. They can see that pass and make it. And he's one of them. I thought Lewis-Skelly might have done a little bit better getting the cross in just a little early. I think Marino was right there, just would have had an easy tap in, or Martinelli. I can't remember who was in the middle of the box.
Yeah,
but
I'll agree with you on that. Like, as you just sort of look to dink it more. You just look to play it across, but you got the defender square, and you've also got the keeper who's like right there with closed angle. Like, you need to sort of come across and just dink that and put it over the back post. Yep.
I think maybe he was in 2 minds. Like, he probably thought cross first, and then the balls come through, and he shoot. What do you do? Anyway, it worked out all right. But I actually liked Eze at 10. I thought playing a lot deeper, playing central.
Do you think he had a good enough game, BB? Do you think he had a good enough game to maintain his position though? Because I thought he was good, but Odegaard just grabbed the game by the clutch of the neck, and I thought that was the only thing we lacked in the first half is that the handbrake came off in the terms of the 3 midfielders, and he's played Zubi and Rice, but I thought Declan didn't have a great game, and I thought Zubi looked. You've talked about Declan being lost in that midfield, and I've agreed with you. And then Zubi looked lost last night because it's almost like he didn't have the protection of a Marino around him who he knows he can win it and pass it to. That's almost where Zubi's best. Win it, give it. Win it, give it. Yep. That was the old Makalele. That was the old, N'Golo Kante. Win it, pass it. Win it, pass it. And all of a sudden he's gone, okay, wow, now I've got to find Eze who's, in between the lines. It's more difficult. So, I mean, do you think he did enough to keep his place?
I do. And again, it goes back to, I think, what we say every week is what is the makeup of that 3 in central there? Like, I never thought I'd say this, but maybe is a over Rice, but with Zubi and maybe a Marino with him. Odegaard obviously if he comes back, but I just thought he offered again. Newcastle just packing that sort of area of the field with men had made it hard. But he was dropping back. He was linking pretty well in and around halfway, just ahead of halfway. Again, Rice I don't know. He's neither here nor there for me at the moment. He made a really good back tracking run back into our own box, and I can't remember who had got a shot away. But apart from that, it was only when like it was absolutely desperation that I sort of saw him or noticed him like getting involved
Hmm.
positively. Before
So do
that,
you
it
think
was
he's droppable though, BB? I mean, okay,
I just can't see it happening, right? No,
right, okay.
like for me,
Because
it should be on the table, but I just don't think it will happen.
I love what you're saying there. In that, I now and then made me think about it. Erdegaard and Eze together would be outstanding. You maybe play one less winger in the terms of you play Victor up top. You give these guys like two, as a double 10 position. You play one
Yes,
pivot against a lower team. So I mean, you play like one pivot if it's just Zubi, and then do you play Saka Martinelli, and then really like open up and go right. We're going to have just Zubi on his own, and then we're going to have Martinelli, Saka on the wings. Then we're going to put Erdegaard, Eze as sort of two tens, and then someone get in there and feed Victor so he can bang them in. But is Declan droppable? Is that the question?
for me, I don't think it should be off the table. I don't see it happening.
Yeah,
But
I
you
agree.
mentioned a good point. Maybe you play like one of those lopsided sort of things and don't have an out and out left winger. Have Saka on the right, obviously, because he's just too good. Victor, you could have Eze, Erdegaard, and maybe Rice keeps a spot in the centre there with Calafiori making those marauding runs down the wing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out the balance and how it would work because I think there's scope for Eze to play a little deeper. I actually think Gyökeres was okay today. I think his work rate is really good. I wouldn't actually mind seeing him drop back a little bit deeper, going looking for the ball, go looking for work, because his link up
Yeah,
play is actually really good.
yeah,
And I just think he just gets a little. He's obviously trying to play like an out and out sort of nine at a striker, but I don't know. He got sort of muscled off the ball a little bit. Maybe he's not used to that physical nature of the Premier League, but I wouldn't mind him seeing him come back a little deeper because I think he could be more useful than just getting left up top
yeah.
and just I don't know. I don't know whether you see that as well or
I love this from you, and I'll tell you why. I was having a chat with a guy, a good mate of mine overseas, Joey, and we were talking this morning. He was saying he thought Victor had a great game last night, and I look back at it because I remember at the time there was an instance. You remember where BB Victor had two moments where he was first half he sort of got clear towards goal as we were going left to right first half on the box. And you remember he sort of tried to tuck in, they try and put
chop
it
in.
behind
Yep,
them and top it
yep,
back and got completely just wiped by the defender. We're like, oh God. Second
yep,
half, he's gone to take that shot, and then he's done one of those classic ones where your left foot doesn't connect properly, you slip into it, and then it's
yep.
ball over, and then the ball goes out. And I remember both of those moments just going, I just really felt at that time, like, what have we bought from Sporting Lisbon? Like, because has he just been like really just absolutely just wiping out the SC Bragas and the Victoria
Mm.
Guimaraes and those teams? Is that what's been happening? Because there's been those moments. I thought he absolutely worked his butt off. He works his butt off every week, and I think having that guy with you. Remember when we were at our very best going back a couple of seasons ago? Because the truth is, I don't think we were that good last year, and there was massive elements of the year before up until we went on that long streak after Dubai trip in 23-4 where we weren't great either. But where we're at our very best going back 2022-3 was Erdegaard pressing right up top and Gabby
Mm.
Jesus pressing right up top. Now, he'll be back at some point soon, but Victor is now playing that role of pressing right up top. Erdegaard, when he's at his best presses as well, it puts massive pressure on. That's what gave Saka space between the lines when the ball was won back quickly and when he had wonderful moments. So I agree with you with Victor in that sense. And I agree with you in that we've got to work out a way to either better get him involved as a Harry Kane number 9 who can not only score goals, but Harry Kane comes back to the edge of the box and he's absolutely world class at basically opening up space for Musiala and for Sané before he left and Gnabry and those guys. What I see out of Victor Gyökeres, though, is a slight confidence issue that he's just not getting his chances in front of goal. But B,
Yeah,
I want to relate this back to what you said a moment ago. I think Arteta is we are blessed right now with a deep squad for once, which is brilliant. What I am concerned about is that there's too much choice at the moment, and he's still working out how to get it right. That
yep.
will be great, and while we keep winning, fabulous. We'll be happy because the main thing is winning. And if someone offered me, a start of 6-4-1-1, I probably would have taken it. Noting, I think we had a very, very difficult start to the season. Newcastle away, Liverpool away, Man City away, arguably our three, Man United away. Sorry, arguably our 3 toughest games away, and then, Man City at home. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter home or away. It's still a massive game. We've not had any run of easy games of sort of Premier League mid-table, low-table teams. So while he works it out and can still get results, I'm okay with it. But I think we've just got to get better at feeding Victor somehow. And if that is a case, like you said, of getting him back and going, well, mate, it doesn't seem too bad when he's got time and confidence to bring it back, try and find a through ball for Saka between the lines. Thought Timber overlapping was good today. He's provided better support for Saka. Calafiori, not so much today. He's sort of really struggling on that left-hand side. But at the same time, him and Trossard are not a great combo, right? When it was Zinchenko, Martinelli on the left, it was fantastic. And whether or not it's Lewis Skelly and Martinelli moving forward that provide us with that width down the left, that's sort of where I'm trying to go with this. A bit of a roundabout comment there, sorry, mate. But I think he's got to work out what he wants out of the team, how we're going to play, and that's going to take some time. And I think, mate, I hate to say it, but Declan Rice might need a few games on the bench. We saw he had the gumption to drop Saliba today. Said that was based on, just load, and fair enough. I'm not sure how I feel about taking Mosquera out of the game, as long as they can tell him, mate, it's just a, thing for keep your confidence up. You still were great. Don't worry about the corner you gave away, which led to the goal. Because outside of that, he was special again, mate. He was perfect.
Yeah, he was.
I take him out of the game, but look, Saliba, I must say, was very solid when he came on as well. So I don't know. There's so many questions. I guess this is even showing me now that there's so many questions to ask with such a big squad. But whilst it's going to be great, he's got to work it out, I reckon, the next 4 to 6 weeks of what his best team is.
Yeah, spot on there. Like, not a bad problem to have. Too many guys, too many good players. Yeah. Sorry, just close that. Too many good players.
I feel like as well, just quickly on that, I feel like, and tell me what you think about this, but I feel like even he can start experimenting, why not, with like a Havertz and a Gyökeres up top. I think Gyökeres would benefit from a Havertz who is just a 10.75, a 9.25, he's just everywhere you need him to be sometimes. Havertz has just never had that guy playing off him that he can, okay, bang, I'll just do that little turn, did get through, Gyökeres there, bang. What do you think about that? I mean, that's something I can see potentially working as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's another one. And I'd love to see this sort of similar combination, Havertz, Eze, at some point. I don't think, I never thought I'd be saying this, but I don't think Martinelli starting as an out-and-out striker in place of Gyökeres is out of the question either.
No, it's not. 100%.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And look, I'm still bordering. I'm still siding with Gyökeres. I'll give him a bit more time, but there are things that you've seen. I don't know whether it's a confidence thing or what, but like his touch at times is a bit heavy. Martinelli's got a beautiful touch. Martinelli's, I think, probably still quicker. So maybe that's an option. But again, look, Gyökeres scored a couple of goals. He hasn't scored against your Liverpool, Cities, or Newcastle away, but he's on the board. He can get it done. He's probably but he does need to figure it out pretty soon. I'll say that.
I think the key. Yeah, go on. Yeah.
No, you go.
I just want to ask you a question. Noting all of that, with the 2 games we've got midweek, what are you doing lineup-wise? Olympiacos, look, I mean, I'm happy to just go the defensive type of game that he's talked, the handbrake back on. I don't mind that against Olympiacos. Mild banana skin, but, win 2-0, just no injuries, get it done. Thanks very much. Into West Ham, touching on what you said about Gyökeres, I won't have a problem if Gyökeres scores a hat-trick against West Ham on the weekend, because there's a stat I wanted to tell you today, and that was, in the last 2 seasons, the fixtures of last night, 4 in a row of Newcastle away. We've got West Ham at home on the weekend. I think it's Fulham away as soon as we get back. And then I actually think it's Crystal Palace at home, which will be, the way they're going, it's going to be a tough game. That 4 set of fixtures in those exact orders, home and away, have yielded us 2 and 3 points in the last few seasons. So not good enough. We have already equaled that with 1 win against Newcastle away. So if we can win the next 3 games and Gyökeres is at the heart of that, like I would love to see him. If he just comes in and he's a flat track bully and just bashes the West Hams at home, and next minute Gyökeres gets a hat-trick next week, I think that's where we all turn around and go, this is where this guy brings massive value for us. So with that in mind, what would you do team-wise, noting Wednesday we've got a game? Do you rest Gyökeres? and go with like a false nine and just something different ahead of West Ham to make sure we're ready to beat a team that could be anything and have been anything against us over the last few years.
Yeah, absolutely. Rest Gyökeres, rest some of the guys that have played a lot, even Calafiori, Gabriel's played a lot at the back. Like, rest some of those guys. I'd like to see Nwaneri start, Lewis Skelly play. I'm not sure. I'd like to see him play another game of Eze at 10, or at least a half. First or second, doesn't really matter. But absolutely, some of those guys that have been playing big minutes, big physical minutes too. Gyökeres gets put through the ringer. He runs hard. He's hitting things. Give him a rest midweek. Let him come back full steam against West Ham. Max Dowman, another chance. I hope to see him midweek against Olympiacos. The one bloke I want to really mention today, I haven't left it till right at the end, but maybe I think my man of the match was Jurriën Timber.
Yes,
mate, I tell you what,
wow,
he might be my favorite player, like the best player for me so far this season.
Yeah,
he's sensational, mate. Like nothing, rarely anyone gets past him in 1-on-1. He will track back. He's good in the air. He's physical. He's scrappy. And then he plays a winger as well. Linking really well with Saka. Linked really well with Madueke. Almost scored. Almost sets players up. Can cross. Mate, he can do it all. I thought, for me, best on Park overnight.
How good are his feet, PB? How good are his feet? Like, he's got the ability to just twinkle toe and just sort of, he almost like a dancer, almost like a samba dancer. I'm not going to do it because I'll fall over and have an injury. But almost like he can just sort of like just see who's coming, move left and right past. He's incredible in that respect. He's absolutely phenomenal as a player like that. He just looks beautiful the way that he can move around defenders, see someone coming. And like you said, he's so solid defensively. Yeah. Mate, I brought him in for fantasy this week. So when that goal went in for Woltemade, I was like, oh no. But then I've got Gabriel as well. So when he scored late, I was like, hello. He's superb.
And there was a moment the ball was heading towards the sideline and Joel Linton's coming in behind him and he just does this little turn and just puts Joel Linton on skates. Another defender comes in, he just dinks it past. Like he's skillful enough to do that, but he's strong enough not to get bullied off the ball by a big mad bastard like Joel Linton. Which brings me to another point. Gabriel, he went down a little easy on the goal. We messaged back and forth. That was pretty poor. What I actually liked, and I might be alone here, is the niggle after. I quite like that. Just the, not the act of it, but just the mentality behind it. Because I sat there for most of that first half going, I wish we had someone like Joel Linton on the field. Just a bloke that you don't want to be near. It's just a pest. And that was it. Like that's the first time in a little while that I've gone, oh, I like that bit of mongrel. Obviously, there's a little controversy. You throw an elbow up into Woltemade's neck and whatever, that's going to happen. But I just like that just the mentality of it, just to get stuck in and say, no, we're not having that. Have a bit of this.
It's funny you mentioned Joel Linton, BB. He was the one that was involved in the controversy of 2 years ago when you remember they scored and Joel Linton pushed Gabriel in the back. Now I don't know if Gabriel still had a little bit of trauma from that or something like that, and maybe he thought, well, if I go down again, they're going to give it to me. It was bad. It was soft. It was bad. I don't know what he was doing. We were quite critical at the time, and we were critical with reason, because I'm not saying that. What I do worry about a situation like that was Gabriel thinking, I'm just not going to be able to out jump Woltemade. He's a big dude, and once he sort of was in that position. He was in the right place in that he was in front of him, which is where you want to be, versus if he's behind him, he's absolutely no hope. But he's got to be stronger at getting his body in him and then at least trying to get up and trying to get, underneath his chin or up around his head height to put him off and do better at that. So I don't know why he did that, but yeah, I like the way that he bounced back. He had the niggle. I thought for the rest of the game, and if you look at his stats at the end of the game, he was superb. I think he had 9 interceptions, 3 blocks. There was that handball at the end, which again, I mean, that could have gone either way. In years gone past, I feel like those type of situations have been given against us. Maybe there was a little bit going I always wonder as well, like, I wonder how much goes through the refs' ears at halftime. Do they check their phone at halftime, mate? And there's a million tweets going, Gillett is this, and Darren England's that. Like, so I wonder that. Do they then go in and go, look, we can't give this because that handball, yes, he sort of went in and he got the ball first. And I think that is part of the new rule now that, if you get the ball and it sort of ricochets, but geez, it was a wildly unnatural position because what I mean by that is, to go in and hold your balance, you maybe have one hand low, but I don't know, like all the way up here,
Yeah,
I sort of feel like it's sort of down there or a little bit closer. It's a bit like, again, and we won't go into it this week because things have gone our way, so let's not have a whinge. But Salah's penalty on the weekend, what is happening? Like that is
what
where
is
I
going
just
on?
am flabbergasted. Like the guy
Yeah,
he's a trapeze artist. Like he's up here and he's touched the ball. That's like, oh yeah, no handball. Like I can't understand it. So bringing it back to Gabriel, I think he got lucky perhaps with a penalty. We'll take it for sure, but he did show good fight and good gumption to come back and go, you know what, I'm gonna win this game and go really well. So look, at the end of the day, great result. Very, very happy. So much to talk about. Referees, look, maybe we can save it for next week, but shocking that they've gone to VAR and overturned that. Just shocking. Like just ridiculous.
absolutely. Again, yeah, VAR should never have got involved. I'm happy enough to leave it at sort of 1-1 with these technicalities. Keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Pope touched the ball before he made
Yeah,
contact.
yeah, yeah.
Gabriel touched the ball with his boot before it hit his hand. We've got about 30 seconds left. We're about to be cut off. But
Perfect.
what a day. Enjoy your week. We'll be back doing it again next week after West Ham United.
Look forward to it, mate. Cannot wait. Loving this. Good times. Hopefully we're close to top or on top by then, and we'll be away. Love it, mate.